Loves, how are you? I know that there's still tremendous amounts of energy processing, but I've been really guided over the last 2 days to sit with the energies, and the divine masculines have been coming through pretty significantly. Of course, you can look at this for your internal energies. With the energies that are happening right now collectively on our planet, and this being previously a very masculine oriented planet, it makes sense that we're all feeling these energies as the deep shifts are occurring within the masculine collective. A message that came in 2 days ago that I've been sitting with, I'm not sure if I'm going to title the video this or not, but I felt guided to still share the message here. We'll see how the rest of the message plays out. But divine masculine, you're not confused, you're scared. And that's okay. Now you realize you've been playing it safe and settling. Being honest with yourself about what you know deep inside is what sets you free to move towards what you truly want. And it's 12:12 where I am right now in this exact moment as I complete that message. But I want to tell you the essence that was coming through, the energy that was coming through when this message first came in 2 days ago. And what I was seeing was this vision of like the masculines really feeling activated into their purpose, like into their actual soul truth. And where that was feeling confusing was what their actual external life and relationships have been looking like in the present moment, and where and how those two things were not lining up. And as this internal truth becomes stronger and stronger, as we align more deeply into our highest timeline, it may sometimes come through as confusion. But if we keep aligning with our truth and our highest timeline, the clarity will come through over time. Keep asking for truth, you keep aligning with your highest timeline, and let the energies crumble that are not in alignment with that. Okay. So I think that's where the confusion can set in when the truth is activated and that highest timeline is activated. All of the things that aren't in alignment with that start to come into question. They start to crumble. They start to show themselves and reveal themselves. And it can create an energy of confusion and chaos. But if we align into the core, and ask for the truth, then you can realize that it's not so much confusion. It might be fear around, okay, now how am I going to clean all of that up to realign with my truth? And also taking responsibility for where we may have skirted or ignored the truth in the past. Okay. But it all boils down to forgiving ourselves, knowing you can't know what you don't know till you know it, continuing to choose to align with the truth, being willing to look at all of what is present in order to temper and master within that and drop into that internal knowing and truth. And what I'm sensing as I say that is that part of the confusion, there is some legitimate confusion as things crumble, right? There's a momentary confusion. But if you stop and anchor into it, I do feel very deeply at the core of our hearts and our souls, we do know the truth. We do know what we want. We do know why we're here. And this is pushing us to go to the next levels of where we've been building self trust and where we've been building self confidence. We're now being called to anchor in and stabilize self assuredness. And this to me is like a deeper level or another layer of that self mastery, of that self trust, where we're allowing ourselves to anchor into our internal truth, trusting ourselves without doubting ourselves, but understanding that we're still taking self responsibility. And because we're open to looking at the good and the bad and taking responsibility for our part of things, that allows us to move into the energy of self assuredness, because we know not only that we're stabilizing and asking for our truth, but we're confident enough to own when we make mistakes. We're comfortable enough to own when we may have not been in alignment in the past. We forgive and love ourselves enough to understand that that's okay because we are all learning, we are all growing, we are all walking through this ascension process one way or another, whether we're doing it willingly or kicking or and screaming. I guess that's to each person's own personal choice and process. But for those of you that are aligning with embracing this process, um, it's allowing us to more fully step into the energies of the self assuredness. Okay. Feeling comfortable with knowing that we're in this harmonious balance or moving towards the harmonious balance of checking ourselves and taking responsibility for our actions without needing to doubt our ability to home in on the truth because we're willing to look at the light and the dark and the good and the bad and the ugly and the beautiful. And we're learning how to master and truly temper and come into states of neutrality. And how we move into states of neutrality is by being able to stabilize within all that is occurring in a truthful manner. And as we come into those states of neutrality, as we allow ourselves to work through those processes of neutrality, it's not that we're agreeing to the things that we don't want to participate in. It means we're acknowledging that they are present on this planet at this time and that we don't need to fight or deny those. We don't have to fight them or deny them or dive into them. We acknowledge that they're present because that's the truth. And then we allow ourselves to continue to rise above those into the higher knowing of why we're here, but to actually truly embody into the energies in the new earth ways, right? In the new ways of being, in the unity consciousness. A main way that we move into unity consciousness is by being able to temper and neutralize in the extremes. There's no need to avoid the extremes, right? We can be present in that process while choosing what we participate in. It doesn't mean we have to give it our energy, it doesn't mean we have to give it our focus, but we do have to acknowledge what is present in order to be in the truth. Okay? And aligning with the truth and allowing yourself to look at your own internal truth and hold yourself accountable to where you might not have been acting in full truth actually is exceedingly powerful because it allows you to genuinely align with truth. And why I think this has happened, and it doesn't mean you're a dishonest person or that we've been dishonest, but let's keep it all the way real. We were not born on a planet that was facilitating and supporting us to move into our own truth. We were really truly being bred and programmed to follow the authority that was set up on this planet in a very specific way for specific reasons. Okay. We don't need to go into all of it, but now we do get to choose our own sovereign being. We get to choose our own sovereign way of doing. And we do this and we practice it by embodying into who we are now truthfully when we become aware of it. Okay. Like I said, you can't know what you don't know till you know it. That's where we can release the shame and the blame and the guilt and say, okay, I did the best I could with what I had, with what I was working with, but I'm taking responsibility for myself and I'm taking responsibility for my sovereignty and my life force and my presence. I'm stepping into my power. And so within stepping into my power, I gain more of my power and life force back by taking that responsibility, owning it, and then moving into what it is that I want now and aligning with those energies. Okay. And we build momentum and we build strength and stability into our power when we shore up those energies and truly get into our own internal alignment. Okay. And really looking at our loyalty first, starting with being loyal to yourself first and foremost, right? You can be the most loyal person on the planet to those you love, but that loyalty to another will come into question if we're put into a position of having to self-betray to in order to maintain that loyalty, right? And I feel like this is a very important conversation because as the ascension is speeding up, as we're moving through this eclipse season, the solar flares, as we're being pushed and pressured to ascend and to move into our highest and best versions, it is pushing on us to shore up where we have leaked our energy in the past, where we have allowed ourselves to be siphoned from, where maybe we were playing in codependent energies as a form of our own levels of addiction or self-doubt or uncertainty in our own sovereign energies. And what is happening as we move into our own full sovereign energies, that is what supports us in creating interdependent connections. And we are doing this step by step. Okay, so it's not something where all of a sudden, boom, okay, I'm just only in interdependent energies. Yes, we can be in the interdependent mindsets, but we've been living in a codependent world. And so what's happening, in my understanding, is as we're unraveling out of the codependent ways of being, as we're stepping into our truth and our full embodiment of our own energy in the present moment, we're then able to reconnect and reopen in interdependent energies and connections. Okay. So there are these pockets that we've been going through, especially over the past 4 years, and it's 1222 now, and we're going to keep moving into these energies of alignment with allowing these processes to continue to strengthen and deepen. Because as we move into sovereignty, as we move into interdependent energies and connections, we're holding the container for the unity consciousness in authentic expressions of true friendship, camaraderie, and reciprocity. Okay. Built on that internal trust, that internal confidence, and that internal self assuredness is what allows us to move into these types of relationships and connections. Okay. And it's something that we're learning to strengthen within ourselves through the experiences that we're having and through the opportunities that are being presented to us to shore up our boundaries, who align with that highest timeline and highest version, to move into our highest potential and being brave and courageous enough to face our own shadows, stepping into our own internal truth by embracing the light and the dark together so that we can move into true unity consciousness energies. Okay. All right. I know I just talked a lot, but I am still going to go into pulling us some messages. Okay. Let's see. Since this came through via the masculine collective, I would like to bring in supports for the masculines, but also our internal masculines. I do deeply believe that all humans on this planet are being called into this work. What they choose to do with it is what they choose. But obviously, if you're here, I know you've been doing it. So let's bring in some support around this. What we can be aware of, what can we work on, and maybe some tips on how to strengthen into this with what we're working with. Okay. But this is definitely major, major, major collective energies. We're seeing it in every direction. Okay. The cards are a little shaky. So my ear was popping for the past 5 minutes until I put this down. And it's kind of going in and out because then came the Five of Cups. So to me, this seed that has been sprouting, the new beginning, the internal truth, right? It's like we're the seeds. And this Five of Cups is representing where we're opening up into the earth to allow our seed to be planted. But it's interesting because this Five of Cups cards always speaks to me about actually being willing to go into the depths of the darkness to extract the light. Okay, so it's through allowing ourselves to go into the uncomfortable pockets that we can plant the seed or allow the dormant seed to receive the light so that it can sprout. And that's bringing me to a visualization I saw just a little while ago of a dormant seed. It's so funny that, like, this is so perfect. They definitely wanted me to share this with you. I saw like a dormant seed in the dry, cracked earth. Okay, like some dormant earth that was not receiving nourishment. And as I was working with the energy to just allow it to receive truth, what I saw was like this tunnel started to open and the light from the sun started to flood down into the earth and activating the seed. And as the seed started to grow and sprout through the dry, cracked earth, as the space was just being held for truth, the seed not only sprouted up through the dry, cracked ground, but it grew into a ginormous oak tree. And as the oak tree was grounding and stabilizing and creating space for itself, all of the elements came into balance, and the earth was then again like fertilized and full of nourishment for the seed and the tree. So to me, this is significant of this exact energy I'm talking about. It's like these dormant seeds of truth, of our purpose, of who we are, have been inside of us this entire time. And some of them have been sprouting and some of them have been dormant. But as we allow ourselves to align with our highest timeline and to align with our truth, it allows the sun and the light to stream into those dormant, dark crevices to allow the true seeds to grow. This is why being willing to look at the truth and being willing to look at the shadows is so incredibly important and powerful, because in those shadows lies the seeds to the solutions, lies the seeds to your true power and your life force. And love this. So each one of you that has been willing and is willing to do this work, you're essentially activating the seeds of truth and light and energy to come to consciousness. Okay. Because all of these dark areas that the general collective consciousness has wanted to avoid has really simply just allowed those darknesses to fester and grow underneath the surface. But as we're brave and courageous and strong enough to stabilize into planting seeds in the darkness, what happens is the light begins to grow within them and allows things to balance and harmonize out. Okay. So each moment that you allow yourself to realign into your truth of your highest timeline, each moment that you take self-responsibility for your past actions and align with the truth of who you are now, each moment that you unravel out of the guilt or the blame or the shame and you move into your truth, releasing self-doubt and allowing your highest self and your highest timeline to drop into your embodiment, you are supporting, truly stabilizing these unity consciousness, sacred union energies into your life and onto the presence in the planet of Earth. Okay. Supporting the ascension for yourself and whoever chooses to partake in that with you. Okay. I love that this came through. And I think it's important because the masculine collectives in general were holding space in those energies so that we could go in and start to plant the seeds. Okay. Again, we've been working together. And so what is happening now, where the masculines were holding the space and the feminines were planting the seeds are growing enough to where the old unfertile ground is collapsing so that the truth of the fertile, prosperous lands can take shape and be allowed to nourish the seeds. Okay, loves. And if we could go way deeper into this when you look at the masculine and feminine energies and the importance of the necessity of both for the fertilization of life. Okay, whether it's a child, a baby, or actual life on this planet, it is the interplay of the masculine and feminine essences that bring forth life. And as we honor those internally, and as we honor those on the planet, and as we honor those within one another, all of the aspects the masculine, the feminine, the logic, the intuitive, the dark, the light. We are truly embracing all of who we are. And the more we anchor and stabilize into that, the more we're able to hold the space for unity consciousness. Again, if any of you want to deepen this for yourself or in a collective for however we are going to be called in the sacred circle of love, please feel free to join me in that. I'm going to drop that and my I do think I have a few sessions available for next week left, so I'll drop my schedule in the pinned comment for you. All right. With this, because I know this is some deep energy, I do want to bring in one final message. Okay. Yes, the unicorns want to come through with a message of hope, with a message of understanding what we're moving into. And as we face all of these aspects of ourself and truly come into the tempered energies, neutrality, and unity consciousness, what will this support us in strengthening for ourselves and for the collective? I just want to open up to bring in a higher message with this. Past lives. That's funny. Release your past life karma. You are old and what you are an old soul with deep wisdom. Healing your past lives will raise your vibration. Okay, so this makes sense because many of us have heard and know that we're here collectively cleaning up past timelines, past iterations, or that they're all essentially happening simultaneously in the quantum. So, any old karmic energies or codependent energies that we're resolving, be it an understanding of this life, other lives, past lives, other dimensions, ancestral patterns, if we can just stop for a moment and drop into the present and be willing to heal, unravel, dissolve, clear, and stabilize and reharmonize every timeline, every energy, and everything we're attached to, right? This is what helps us to stabilize in the present moment in our own sovereign energy. So, whether you see it as past lives or things that are happening simultaneously in this exact moment in the quantum on all of the different levels, we're essentially retrieving all of our own energies and essences back to the present moment, anchoring into our self assured present power, right? Which frees us up from all of the past. It frees us up from being stuck or frozen or entrapped or imprisoned in places that our consciousness is not needing to be. Okay. We can unravel, thaw, release all of those and come more fully into the present moment. And so, what happens is this essentially frees us from any of those essences and brings us into the present moment. Okay. I know I'm kind of going on about that, but it feels important because it's all interwoven in the sense that at the quantum everything is happening simultaneously. So no, but we live on a planet that's linear, so both are true for us as we're on this planet. Everything is happening at once and it's also linear, so we're cleaning it up from both directions, heaven and earth, north to south, east to west, masculine to feminine, past to present to future. Okay. If that makes sense. So we're moving in all of those directions to work with this. It's coming to me right now to let you guys know this is some of the work that I can do, will do in a session with you if you would like, because I do know where all of these converge can be a lot sometimes. And I have been working with a few people in sessions that have been guided to work at where everything is intersecting and we're able to move and open up quite a bit simultaneously. So even so, you can tap into that through the essence and energy of this video right here and right now and move in whatever way works for you right here and right now. All right. Yes. Love it. Okay. One more with that because I feel like there's a little bit. Yep. There is more that the unicorns want to share real quick. What do we got? Rebirth. Reinvent yourself, give life to your dreams, create a new reality. Literally, absolutely, unbelievably perfect. as we shore up all of these past energies, as we become more and more into the present, it allows our true energy and essence to be available for this rebirthing process of all of who we actually are. O- Okay, this is very, very powerful. And we're doing this in a simultaneous manner. We're clearing out the past and dropping into the present, allowing those true energies to come together all at once. Any place we were frozen, imprisoned, in a sense, when we retrieve that essence and bring it into the presence, that present moment, that is a moment of rebirth. That is the moment that your essence is rebirthed into this moment here and now. Okay. You guys, I think you've already been doing this. Maybe this is just giving you a visual or a different perspective of how to see how powerful what you are doing actually is. As you're doing your work, you are rebirthing your life force into the present moment. Keep going. Again, you're doing gorgeous. And there is a lot coming in. So we'll see how this plays out. I would like to thank the Divine Masculine Collectives for coming through with this. And for all of you here present with me, working on your internal energies, your inner union, for your sacred union, and for the ascension energies on this beautiful Mother Earth. All right, I love you guys. Hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye.